This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. We're so glad you could join us for today's show. In today's episode, I talk with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan for our weekly check of the U.S. Drought Monitor and the weather patterns in Iowa. We also have a check of that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
We're at the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, and for a bit of analysis, we go to Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. Jacob, what did we see in the grains today?
Today was a good follow-through day, especially in the bean market. Saw the bean market trade up to 24 cents higher on the day, up to $14.68. Led mostly by the soybean meal, $11.30 higher here in the front months. Maize trading $4.57. So strong day there. Wheat market kind of tagged along. You're seeing some definitely some major spread between the Kansas City wheat and the Chicago wheat. You're seeing 10 cents higher out there in Kansas City just due to dryness and due to the continued droughts out there and just not getting any of these breaks that they need. And Chicago's up a penny. So you got the corn markets still looking to bear trade, kind of unwinding the bullish sentiment to that spread that we've seen for the last 2 weeks.
Now, of course, we have that USDA planting inspections report on Friday. Are the markets going to be maybe a little excited heading into that, or are they going to be reserved and waiting for kind of a reaction?
Today I felt like the corn was a little bit stagnant, especially with beans coming up like we saw. There's very wide ranges. If you followed any of the estimates from private analysts, you're anywhere from 92 to 87 million acres of soybeans, from almost 90 million acres of beans to 84 million acres of soybeans. It's just there's a very wide range, a lot of guesses. The other part of that report is the quarterly stocks number that we're going to see. As we've continued to increase on-farm storage, that's a number that's been very hard to track. And so there's twofold. What we'll see there in that report on the end of the month. That'll be this Friday. But you saw export sales come out this morning. Another sales to China. This is 6 in the last 8 days, I think is what it is. But did not get a whole lot of bounce during that old crop. So I thought the corn market traded a little bit disappointing, especially seeing the strength that we saw in soybeans.
And then with that, the flash sales we've seen to China recently, do we expect that to continue on a little longer, or how long is that demand period expected to last?
But when you figure out what China is going to do, there's a lot of people that will pay you big money to figure that out. But I would say that your desire for China to come in and buy, our corn, we've seen it, since 2020, we've seen an increased interest anyway. I don't hear a lot of people anticipating, the much bigger exports. I mean, the question is, how much more does China have left to sell? I mean, there's a lot of people that think it could be 6 to 8 million more metric ton. That's a good question. But the continued sales, we need to see some bigger sales just to meet our expectations of what the USDA even still has now at 1.9. But if you look at what went out this Monday, the inspections report on Monday, it was just last week's exports were not that good. And so we need to continue to see these sales so we can get that number up.
And then how about the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex? What do we see going on there today?
Well, live cattle were pretty strong most of the day. We backed off a little bit at the close. Really, really quiet trade in the cattle, and the feeder cattle were down about 60 cents there. If you look over at what the feeder cattle did yesterday, I mean, that was a huge move up 3 days in a row. So we've getting back into some of these higher levels. The cattle market, box beef has fallen off a little bit, but you're starting to see some lighter weights. You're seeing some steady kill, and you're starting to see some of these cattle getting moved early. So the time frame, the desire for some of these calves, feels like it's been scooted up into these feedlots. You're going to start looking, later April, and in the beginning of June, start seeing some lighter calves come in. So the dynamics of this market is still set up for a very bullish fundamental move. The question that we've all talked about is, what does the demand side of this do? It seems like there's been less emphasis on what the bank runs have done, and some stability or some strength, back into our economic system, would be at least a positive note for these cattle. And I think that's kind of what they've traded on a little bit this week, that maybe that demand will be here. You're starting to get into the summer grilling season. Kill should be big this week to satisfy some of that early April and hopefully some better weather. But hog market was down in the front months. Pretty quiet trade there today after seeing a strong rebound after the heavily sold off hog market.
Lots of great information today, Jacob. For those of our listeners and our viewers who would like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
We just have you go to our website, take a 30-day free trial of our intel. You can look us up on all the social media, but at our website, you can look at the About Us page, find the number or email to each one of us there.
Great talking with you as always, Jacob, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thanks for having me, Riley. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
That again was Jacob Burks of agmarket.net. We're going to go ahead and take a look at how those numbers close. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. May corn is down 1 even at 647 1/4. December new crop up 2.5 at 572 1/4. May soybeans up 25.5 at 1467 3/4. November new crop up 15 1/4 at 1303 3/4. May soybean meal up 11.90 at 457.90. Soybean oil up 50 at 55.05. Chicago wheat up 1 3/4 at 699 3/4. Minneapolis spring wheat up 9 even at 882 1/2. Kansas City hard red wheat up 12 1/4 at 872 1/2. May oats up 2 even at 379 1/4. On the Merc, April live cattle up 5 cents at 164.95. May feeders down 57 at 280. April lean hogs down 87 at 77.75. April pork cutout down 162 at 82.57. Class 3 milk down 26 at 19.50. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Everybody's noticed that the weather's been a bit wishy-washy recently. It seems that every other day we go from either experiencing spring or experiencing winter. Of course, that just comes with this time of year. March and April are transitional months as we truly get into the spring season. So I had the chance to talk with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan about what those weather patterns are looking like and what we can expect from even the next month. Well, we are here again this week with Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan for a check of the drought monitor and just some of the other weather happenings in Iowa. First off, Justin, great to see you again this week. How's that drought monitor looking?
Yeah, always a pleasure, Riley. So we didn't see any change last week. We call that status quo. So not enough precipitation to necessitate any changes, especially in Western Iowa with our drier conditions and our longer term precipitation deficits. But holding the map status quo is still a good thing. It means we didn't degrade anything. We haven't been in a drier or a warmer pattern. So hence the status quo. Now we have seen some significant improvement over the last several weeks. So we are trending in the right direction in terms of where we were last year at this time. If we looked at the map 1 year ago, we would actually see a drought intensification and expansion in both Western and Eastern Iowa. So the map is looking much better than it did just last year and just several weeks ago as well.
Let's talk about the weather that we've seen recently. Of course, we've mentioned many times, March being that kind of transitional month, April as well, but we've seen that transition right now because it seems like one day it's spring, one day it's winter, and it just kind of goes back and forth. What's kind of the story behind that weather pattern right now?
Well, for lack of a better phrase, March Madness is apt for the weather patterns that we see. Again, we're transitioning from large-scale weather patterns, the synoptic scale, what we call in meteorology, those large-scale low-pressure systems that bring widespread rainfall and snowfall. We had a snowfall event in eastern Iowa and even in central Iowa, where several inches fell in central Iowa and then up to 10 inches in eastern Iowa. So we're just vacillating back and forth between warm and cold, and a more active storm track as well.
Well, and I saw that kind of, I think it was supposed to be yesterday, that there was this band, maybe from kind of eastern Nebraska through western Iowa into central Iowa of heavier snow. But in central Iowa, we didn't really get that as much. I know some parts of the western Iowa did. What was pushing that through? And then kind of why didn't it turn out the way we thought it would?
Yeah, just a little upper level disturbance that came through the Midwest. We did have some what we call grauple, which is kind of convective sleet. So updrafts will drive that formation. We did see some snowflakes and some sleet as well. Those smaller scale events are typically hard to forecast. We had a general idea of the potential. Some locations received what they were expecting, others did not. So again, just as we get into these smaller scale disturbances, the forecastability is a little more difficult.
And let's go ahead and look into April as well. You mentioned you've got some of those kind of initial outlooks for the month. What are we seeing there? Kind of more of the same from March?
Well, they're not giving us a lot of guidance right now. We have two versions of these, the initial outlooks, which come out in the middle of the previous month, and then the final outlook for April, which will be issued on March 31st. We are still seeing some semblance of a more active storm track. Again, La Nina has transitioned to ENSO neutral. So when we see that transition, we do see a shift in the large scale weather pattern. Now the atmosphere will lag behind a few weeks, so we won't see a full transition. But looking forward to those final, our April outlooks will give us more guidance. Right now, basically equal chances in terms of temperature, and then a slightly elevated weather signal for extreme eastern Iowa. But again, not a lot of guidance right now. Hopefully, the final outlooks will give us a little more indication on where we're moving.
And then kind of pivoting back to that snowfall amount, eastern Iowa having that heavier snowfall amount. Of course, we've had those recent snowstorms that dropped a lot of snow, especially to the north. How are we looking on the spring thaw side of things and kind of where that moisture is going into the rivers?
Yeah, a great question. So I looked at the frost depths this morning, and the frost is out across much of the state. So we are seeing soils thawing out, and any precipitation that we get will definitely start to soak in deeper. We have some tile lines that are running in northern and central Iowa. We are seeing good infiltration once we do get precipitation. That snow melt will start to infiltrate deeper as well, especially those higher totals. But then we look again. We've chatted about this last week, that lots of snowpack up in Wisconsin, in eastern Minnesota. Snow water equivalent 6 to 12 inches of liquid if it were to melt all at once. So that's where we're looking at the potential for moderate to major flooding on the Mississippi side. Now, the Weather Service has kind of backed off a little bit on the flood potential, but we'll still have to see how those outlooks in terms of temperature and snow melt dictate how much inputs we get into the river systems.
And Justin, is there anything else climatologically going on in the state of Iowa that our listeners and viewers should know about today?
Well, we're approaching the growing season. Farmers are itching to get out in the field and begin field work. Wetter topsoils, still dry soil profiles. But when we do see ENSO neutral conditions moving into April, May, June, we do expect wetter conditions than we would for the La Nina phase, which we had over the last 3 years. So I mentioned earlier in the interview that the trend is in the right direction in terms of moisture. So we'll just have to see how those outlooks for April shake out at the end of the month. But it's looking pretty good.
All right, and then for those of our listeners, especially our farmer listeners who would like to get in touch and learn more and even give you some data for your weekly reports, how can they do that?
Yes, so my direct office line is 515-281-8981. My email is justin.glisan@iowaagriculture.gov. And if you Google Iowa Climatology Bureau, it'll bring you to our website. All kinds of historic reports, climatological maps, drought monitor, the outlooks, anything you'd ever need. So please use the website as a resource.
All right, great talking with you today, Dr. Justin Glisan, again, Iowa State Climatologist, and we look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Looking forward to it, Riley.
That again was Iowa State Climatologist Dr. Justin Glisan. Speaking of the weather, let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, like we just talked about, even tomorrow and into the rest of the week, those temperatures are going to be kind of flipping back and forth a bit. Tomorrow will be a little cooler than today, still pretty spring-like though. But then we go to Thursday, we have almost a 20-degree jump. We're looking at mid to upper 60s across a lot of the state, so really getting into that spring weather. We'll see how long it sticks around though, so let's see what the National Weather Service has to say for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, the weather is going to be switching back and forth for a little bit longer. Today we have sunny skies across the state, highs ranging from the mid-40s to about 50. Tonight we have increasing clouds with a slight chance for snow in the north, lows ranging from the upper teens to low 30s. And tomorrow there's chances for snow scattered across the state, then it will be partly to mostly sunny, highs ranging from the low 30s to mid-40s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will see a slight chance for snow and then sunny skies with a high around 33. Shenandoah mostly cloudy, high of 46. Des Moines mostly cloudy and 41. Waterloo chance for snow, then sunny skies, high of 38. Albia mostly cloudy, 43. And then Clinton will see a chance for snow and then mostly cloudy skies with a high of 38. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Twice Daily Market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.